America didn't just buy these cars. It went crazy for them. Some sold hundreds of thousands, some created entirely new markets, and one became a record-breaking success even after the horsepower disappeared. From affordable style to cheap V8 speed, big block muscle, luxury, and pure performance image, American buyers kept changing what they wanted, and every time they did, Detroit fought to give them more. So why did America want these 10 cars so badly? And which one would you have taken home? Tell me in the comments. Okay, let's roll with rolling icons. Ford expected maybe 150,000 Mustang sales in its first year. Americans bought more than 418,000. And here's the surprising part. When Ford asked buyers why they wanted one, more than 80% said the most important reason was appearance. America wasn't just buying horsepower. America was buying the Mustang look. By 1966, the basic hardtop started around $2,416, roughly $25,000 in today's purchasing power. And that affordable starting point was crucial. You didn't need sports car money to drive something that looked youthful and exciting. Then you could make it yours. Ford offered everything from an economical six-cylinder to a range of 289 V8s, plus different interiors, transmissions, colors, and appearance options. The same basic Mustang could be inexpensive transportation, a stylish cruiser, or a serious performance car. And Ford found exactly the audience it wanted. The median Mustang buyer was only 31, compared with 42 for a regular Ford buyer. More than 28% were under 25. Walk through an American parking lot in 1966, and the scale of the phenomenon would have been impossible to miss. Ford produced 607,568 Mustangs that year alone. Nearly 500,000 were ordinary hardtops like this body style. Then, on March 2, 1966, the 1 millionth Mustang rolled off the line, less than 2 years after the car had been introduced. Ford had discovered something Detroit couldn't ignore. Americans would buy an affordable car by the hundreds of thousands simply because it let them express who they wanted to be. And once the competition saw those numbers, the fight for that buyer was just beginning. But style was only part of what younger Americans were beginning to want. They wanted speed they could actually afford. And Chevrolet had a remarkably simple answer. In 1967, a Nova SS Sport Coupe started around $2,467. But the option that transformed it cost just $93, a 327 V8 with 275 advertised horsepower. That was the beauty of the Chevy too. Chevrolet still promoted it as a stylish economy car. Compact, practical, and inexpensive to own. Yet buyers could turn that sensible little Chevrolet into a serious performance machine without stepping up to a big, expensive muscle car. A documented 327 Nova SS weighed only 2,955 pounds. A 4-speed was another $184, and front disc brakes cost $79. The Mustang had shown how much Americans wanted affordable style and individuality. The Nova revealed the next desire: affordable speed. But Chevrolet was already creating something specifically to fight Mustang. The Camaro arrived for 1967, and suddenly Chevrolet's hot little Chevy 2 was competing for young buyers with another Chevrolet. America's performance market was becoming so important that Detroit was starting to compete with itself. The Nova proved Americans would pay for cheap V8 speed. Plymouth looked at that appetite and pushed the idea much further. Forget making the big engine an option, make performance the whole reason the car exists. The result was the 1968 Roadrunner. Instead of loading it with luxury, Plymouth deliberately kept it basic. Bench seats, fewer frills, and a high-performance 383 big block with 335 advertised horsepower as standard equipment. In other words, America could spend its money on the engine instead of the upholstery. Even the Roadrunner hardtop started around $3,034, roughly $28,000 in today's purchasing power. Plymouth gave all that bargain muscle a personality nobody could miss. It licensed Warner Brothers' Roadrunner cartoon character and even developed a special horn designed to make the famous beep beep. It sounded almost like a joke. The sales weren't. Plymouth reportedly expected around 20,000 Roadrunners in that first year. Americans bought roughly 44,600, more than twice the expectation. And buyers who wanted something truly extreme could order the 425 horsepower 426 Hemi. But the Hemi wasn't what made the Roadrunner a mass-market hit. The 335 horsepower 383 did. Mustang had made style affordable. Nova showed how cheaply Americans could add V8 speed. Now Roadrunner proved something even bigger. Thousands of buyers were perfectly willing to sacrifice luxury if Detroit gave them horsepower instead. By 1968, affordable performance wasn't just an option anymore. It had become the product. The Roadrunner had proved Americans would buy stripped-down big block performance in huge numbers. Dodge saw that success and wanted those buyers too. Its answer was the Super Bee. And by 1969, the bargain muscle fight was escalating so quickly that 335 horsepower was becoming the starting point. A Super Bee hardtop cost about $3,121, and the standard package already included a 383 Magnum rated at 335 horsepower, a 4-speed manual, heavy-duty suspension, and a stout rear axle. No need to build the hot rod yourself. Dodge would sell it to you from the factory. Buyers responded. Super Bee production had been just 7,844 during its shortened 1968 debut. 1 year later, it jumped to 27,846. But now, there was another problem. The performance war was moving faster than the 383. The legendary 426 Hemi offered 425 horsepower, but it was expensive, exactly the wrong direction for a bargain muscle car. So Dodge found a middle ground that was anything but moderate. The 1969 A12 package brought a 446-pack, 3 two-barrel carburetors, 390 advertised horsepower, 490 pound-feet of torque, a Dana 60 rear axle, and even a fiberglass hood that lifted completely off. The package cost about $463. The Hemi option was roughly $848. That tells you exactly where America's muscle car obsession was heading. Roadrunner had proven cheap big block muscle could sell. Super Bee showed what happened when Detroit started fighting over those buyers. More engine, more performance, and an escalating battle to deliver the most speed for every dollar. Pontiac thought maybe 5,000 buyers would want its new performance idea. More than 32,000 did. And by 1965, that number exploded to 75,352. But here's what makes that story remarkable. The GTO wasn't even a separate Pontiac model yet. It was a $295.90 option package added to the Le Mans. That tells us exactly what Pontiac had discovered about American buyers. They didn't need some exotic sports car. A regular Le Mans could have a 6-cylinder or step up to a 326 V8 with as much as 285 advertised horsepower. But check the GTO option, and Pontiac substituted a 389 V8 rated at 335 horsepower, along with dual exhaust, heavy-duty suspension, red-line tires, and the GTO identity. And for even more, Tri-Power took the 389 to an advertised 360 horsepower. The transformation began with that $295.90 option. Meanwhile, the Le Mans itself was hardly a niche car. Pontiac produced 107,553 of them in 1965. So when Americans overwhelmed Pontiac's expectations for the GTO, Detroit learned something enormously valuable. You didn't have to invent an expensive new sports car. Take an affordable car people already wanted, give them the right engine, the right image, and the ability to choose how far they wanted to go. America would do the rest. By 1967, Chevrolet had its own answer, and it revealed just how mainstream muscle had become. The Chevelle SS 396 started around $2,825, and the remarkable part was what came standard, a 396 big block rated at 325 horsepower. But Chevrolet wasn't simply selling another stripped-down street machine. The Chevelle offered something the performance market increasingly needed: a real back seat, useful mid-size dimensions, and serious big block power in the same car. You could get married, have a family, need an everyday car, and still refuse to give up the 396. Buyers could even move beyond the standard engine. Chevrolet offered a 350 horsepower 396, while the limited production L78 reached 375. But the biggest number wasn't horsepower. Chevrolet sold more than 63,000 SS 396 Chevelles in 1967. Think about what that meant. Big block muscle was no longer some experiment aimed at a small group of young enthusiasts. Tens of thousands of Americans were buying it in a practical Chevrolet they could actually live with. Pontiac had discovered the appetite. The Chevelle proved just how mainstream that appetite had become. The Chevelle proved serious performance could fit into everyday American life. But by the end of the decade, some buyers wanted something else with it, a sense that they'd moved up. Mercury had already seen what Mustang could do. Instead of building another inexpensive pony car, it took that basic idea in a more sophisticated direction. And in 1969, for the first time, you could get a Cougar convertible. The XR-7 was the upscale version. Bucket seats, richer instrumentation, wood grain trim, hidden headlights, and a more luxurious personality. The XR-7 convertible started around $3,578, nearly $600 more than a standard Cougar hardtop. This wasn't about getting the most horsepower for the least money. It was about getting the excitement of a pony car without feeling like you'd bought the entry-level version of the idea. And the way Americans ordered Cougars tells us something surprising about that buyer. Nearly 90% of 1969 Cougars came with an automatic transmission. Performance still mattered. The Cougar range offered serious V8 power, but comfort and sophistication mattered too. And this particular combination was never common. Out of roughly 100,000 Cougars produced for 1969, only 4,024 were XR-7 convertibles. 5 years after Mustang made the pony car an affordable sensation, the market had already evolved. Americans didn't just want sporty cars anymore. Some were willing to pay more for style, comfort, status, and performance in the same package. By 1979, Americans were still buying performance cars in huge numbers, but the meaning of performance had changed. The Camaro Z28 is one of the clearest examples. Its factory 350 was rated at just 175 SAE net horsepower. Yet, Chevrolet built 84,877 Z28s that year, a record for the model. And the styling was doing a lot of the talking. That dramatic hood scoop looked functional, but from the factory, it wasn't. The smaller fender vents actually were. Chevrolet also gave the Z28 heavier-duty suspension, front and rear anti-roll bars, 15-inch wheels, spoilers, bold graphics, and an unmistakable performance identity. The result worked. 1979 became the highest production year in Camaro history, with more than 282,000 built overall. So the late 70s weren't simply the moment Americans stopped caring about fast cars. They show something more interesting. Even when the old horsepower numbers were gone, buyers still wanted the look, the handling, the V8 identity, and the feeling that they were driving something special.
6 years after Mustang created the pony car craze, Ford was fighting inside the market it had created. Camaro, Firebird, Cougar, Barracuda, Challenger, and others were now chasing the same American buyer. Simply owning a Mustang wasn't as special as it had been in 1964. Ford's answer was to make the Mustang much more aggressive. The 1970 Mach 1 started around $3,271, about $500 more than an ordinary Mustang sports roof. But buyers weren't paying for stripes alone. A V8 was standard, along with competition-oriented suspension and the unmistakable Mach 1 identity. Buyers could move from the standard 351 all the way into serious Cobra Jet territory, and visually, Ford made sure nobody confused it with the basic Mustang. The fastback sports roof shape, bold hood treatment, spoilers, rocker graphics, and available functional shaker induction. Americans responded. Ford built 40,970 Mach 1s in 1970. That's more than 1 out of every 5 Mustangs sold that year, and remarkably close to the number of regular Mustang sports roofs. Think about how far the idea had traveled. The original Mustang became a sensation because Americans could finally buy affordable, sporty style. 6 years later, those same buyers had been surrounded by competitors offering more power, more attitude, and more choices. So Mustang evolved with them. The car that started America's pony car craze now had to become a muscle car just to keep fighting in it. Great cars, great stories. Which one would you choose? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching Rolling Icons. See you in the next one.